Had to hop on here. Obviously, the news that is broken today. It was been like kind of a series of events. And, it was funny, man. I was actually about today. I was literally in the process of filming a video concerning Tank, his future, his whole court case now, or this case in Florida again put to bed. What's his future? Is he taking a break? Well, we got news today, and that is, some of the chatter, and a lot of us were just thinking it was just bullshit chatter, concerning this proposed Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight. Well, we're getting that fight in November, courtesy of Netflix. I mean, look, I guess maybe I'll tie in a bit my thought process as a concern, the video I was making tonight as a concern Tank, his immediate future, or maybe his long-term future in the sport. But Tank, without question, man, has been like an enigma. And what I mean by that is, most fighters at this stage of the game, where Tank is at, he's 30 years old, I think going on 31. He's still relatively in the prime of his career. But the question that a lot of us have kind of asked ourselves and asked the general boxing public, everybody that, is in tune into the sport, is when is he going to fight his contemporaries? And who are the contemporaries? At one point, there was, people were wanting to see him in Lomachenko. At one point, people wanted to see him in Devin Haney. In more of the immediate, we've been wanting to see him in there with Shakur Stevenson. Which all were fights that, in relation to what he's fought so far, would have been the creme de la creme of his career. I mean, when you talk about a Devin Haney, former undisputed 2-division, going on 3-division world champion. Teofimo Lopez, 2-division world champion. Shakur Stevenson, 3-division world champion. Two of these guys, however you want to, I don't know if Haney and the Ryan Garcia fight was turned to a no contest, but technically on paper he's undefeated. Let's just say 2 undefeated world champions, both arguably in the pound for pound list. And these, all the names I mentioned, and then like if you want to include Lomachenko in there, that would have been the most decorated fights that Tank would have been in. Very likely most lucrative, or in and around. I mean, he made a lot of money off of the Ryan fight. Against a guy, or a kid, I should say, whatever, that himself hasn't really done much of anything in the sport outside of, having the fight with Devin Haney and getting popped, and his track record from that point doesn't look great. I mean, losing to Rolly now, like, that win doesn't look really great, right? That all being said, we understand that this is prize fighting, right? We get it. But there is still the side of us, much of us, that still look at this as a sport, okay? And Gervonta Davis, without question, man, is one of the top guys in the sport, but with a lot of question marks, Now he's going in to fight Jake Paul in an exhibition. And Jake Paul's coming off of fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He's had these stints with Mike Tyson, but this is without question at all, it's a money grab for both guys. It just is. Now, Canelo Alvarez was in line, or so we think, to fight Canelo Alvarez. To fight Jake Paul. But what I still think it is with that whole situation was he was using Jake Paul as leverage to get his deal with Turkey, which ended up being very lucrative, But let's just say Canelo took that fight. By the time Canelo took that fight, he became champion at 154. He was a champion at 160. Grabbed the title at 175. Became undisputed at 168. And while people would have bitched and complained, I didn't care for it either. There's more of a concession for Canelo to take that than for Tank to take this fight at where he's at in his career. And I get it. Like, you're going to have the rhetoric that, you know, he's getting a bag and it's all about the money. And I think that's a lot of this generation that kind of have lost sight of the actual point that this is still a sport. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the NBA and in the NFL, I mean, do we go and talk about like, oh man, you know, Tyreek Hill is making, you know, X amount of dollars, so he don't got to run that route. He don't got to play the second quarter. You know, play the third quarter. In boxing, it just seems like the money predicates what a fighter is able to do, you know? And it's not just Tank. There's other fighters. But man, this, to me, like, I just feel like there's a high probability. And we'll see, just to be fair. There's a probability, man, like, Tank could be, like, he said it. I don't, you know, I'm looking at, you know, I don't fuck with this boxing shit no more, and maybe, just maybe, this is his exit strategy, because he's gonna get paid a shit ton of money for this fight. And what he's gonna get paid to fight Jake Paul in an exhibition match. And I don't want to say, man, listen, man, I haven't made Jake Paul videos. I look at it for what it is. It's glorified tough man competitions that I feel have a little bit of Martin Scorsese, or I should say a little bit of Mario Puzo popping, if you kind of get my drift. Is that what we're going into in November with Tank? Like, just look at it from the broad scope and just like ask yourselves, you know, like, what are you expecting? And to be honest, like, and I'm not one of these guys that's saying, oh, I'm not gonna watch or whatever. And I watch everything, man. I watch Jersey Shore. I watch, you know, Alien Earth. I watch competitive box. I watch it all. But from the perspective of how, when we start talking about, when we put certain fighters on pedestals historically, right? Tank is one of these guys that he is in that discussion at some point. Like, I was in this one of these clubhouse chats talking about, like, if Tank were to retire today, would you be putting him as a first ballot Hall of Famer? My answer was no. And why? Because he just he hasn't done enough. We can't talk about, oh, you did good at the gate. A lot of fighters historically have done well at the gate, you know? But at the end of the day, man, whether your name is Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Robinson, Muhammad Ali, all these guys were predicated, and their names are put up based on who their opponents were, who they fought, who they beat, when they beat them. That has not changed. I don't think, or perhaps I'm willing to think at this point that Tank doesn't really care about that shit. I think Tank is really, like, based on just his moves. You know, I just think he wants a bag, and there's a high probability, man, he might just skirt out of here and say, hey, look, I don't care about being the best. I don't care about this. I got all my faculties in check. I made good investments. And I guess this is just where we're at in today's world of boxing. And I'm all for fighters getting paid, man. But again, like, reason I still follow this sport is because of the competitive aspect. It's why I like certain guys. It's why I like Bam. I'm very intrigued to see where Bam takes his career. I'm interested to see where Abdullah Mason takes his career. Richardson Hitchens, Shakur, whatever Tio's gonna end up doing, whatever. Like, this is beyond Canelo, beyond Crawford, beyond Usyk. Like, these are our batch of guys that I'm still interested to see what they're gonna do. But with Tank, it just seems like he is just looking for the bag, and he's coming off a fight that I feel he lost that we were waiting for a rematch, but then you ask yourself, that, like, is it worth his time to go take that fight again? Did he want that fight again? It doesn't seem as such on the surface. So if you guys are just kind of tuning in now, you're finding out, yeah, Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, until we're notified that like he pulled a similar deal to Canelo and he's getting a deal with Turkey instead. And let me tell you, I still feel that's what Canelo did. So if we get this kind of turnaround and they're like, haha, let's pump the brakes, Tank's really doing this, I'll leave that open. But on the surface, it looks like this is happening only because the Canelo and Jake Paul joint, they didn't have that solidified. It was like on the cusp, but they're saying, I mean, if Ring Magazine is reporting it, it's gonna happen. I mean, as far as we know, and it'll be on Netflix. So, wow. That's all I gotta say, man. I'm really just scratching my head. I mean, it's like a part of me is not surprised, but there's part of me that is just like, jeez, man. But hey, man, like, this is boxing today, man. And Jake Paul has a shit ton of money to pay these guys. And mind you, this isn't a PBC product, just so everybody knows. This is a Jake Paul production. The PBC, as far as I know, are not going to be putting this as a joint venture onto Amazon Prime. This is going to be on Netflix. So if you guys got Netflix, you'll be able to watch this. But in any case, man, that's all I got. I'm going to do another video, just kind of maybe getting more into detail, because this is just fresh. It's just coming out. But Jake Paul, Tank Davis, this November. And ironically enough, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's happening the week before that big Riyadh card. So, any case, man, let me know what you think. Is this bullshit? Are you guys going to watch? I think a lot of people are going to watch because it's a circus show. It's a spectacle. And people love circuses and spectacles. So, but that's all I got, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.